So that's usually the part most sellers never get told. Their home didn't expire because the market just got slow. Most of the time, it expired because the strategy was broken from the beginning. And that's hard to hear. I get it. Because when a home sits week after week with no real traction, sellers start asking the wrong question. They ask, why isn't anyone making an offer? But that's not the first question. The first question is, why aren't the right buyers even engaging in the first place? See, buyers don't just ignore a good home for no reason. They hesitate when something feels off. The price feels off. The presentation feels off. The photos feel off. The marketing feels off. Or worse, the home was positioned in a way that made it easy to overlook. The clock starts working against you because the longer a listing sits, the more buyers begin to wonder, what's wrong with it? And once that thought enters the market, you're no longer just trying to sell the house. Now you're trying to overcome suspicion. And sellers feel that. They feel the silence. They feel the weak showing activity. They feel the lowball energy. And eventually, they feel defeated. But here's the part almost nobody explains. An expired listing is not always a property problem. A lot of times, it's a messaging problem, a pricing psychology problem, a launch problem, a negotiation positioning problem. In other words, the home may not have failed, the plan failed. And that matters, because if you misdiagnose why it didn't sell, you'll probably repeat the same mistake the second time. You relist with a new sign, maybe a few new photos, maybe even a small price cut. But the deeper issue, still there. And the truth is, some listings never had a real chance the way they were brought to market. Not because the seller didn't care, not because the house wasn't good, not even because there were no buyers, but because nobody stepped back and asked, what is the market actually telling us, and what are we missing? And once you know the answer to that, you can usually predict whether a listing is about to sell or whether it's heading straight for expiration. And there's one sign in particular that tells you almost immediately which way it's going. And most sellers miss it completely. I'll get into that next.